So what happens when the author scares the publisher? Usually it's the other way around, right? Where the author begs for the publisher validation. That's how they get a book deal in the first place. Especially when you're a new author, it's your debut work. You have a lot to prove. You have to prove that your work is relevant. You have to prove that your work is nothing like what's currently on the market. At least there is space, there's demand for your type of writing in the market. But things work differently when you are someone with presence already in the market or in the on the internet or just in general. You're a more influential person. So this happens with both Jennette McCurdy and Bill Browder. And we'll be talking about their work that I just finished reading recently, Half His Age by Jennette McCurdy and Red Notice by Bill Browder, which I believe is an older work, but I just finished reading both nearly at the same time. I think I finished Red Notice first, and then I finished Half His Age maybe like 2 days later. The reason why I want to talk about this two books is because I think they shared the same struggle or same weakness, or lack thereof. I feel like the two books were published really quickly with what seemed to me no substantial editing. But so the reason why I thought the two books were interesting to talk about is because both of them did the same cop out. They treated shock as substitute for good storytelling, and it's not like they aren't great storytellers. Both Jeanette and Bill have proven their prowess in storytelling in other mediums. McCurdy in her memoir, which I rated 5 stars, I'm Glad My Mom Died, and Bill has published documentaries that were super moving. He is also a great he gives great speech. He's a great communicator. He's a great public speaker. And his interviews were also really engaging. It's a shame that that didn't translate in this particular work of theirs. I'm sure they have the ability to move forward and to improve with a condition that we will discuss later. Let's start with McCurdy in Half His Age. And this actress has proven she can write, like I said. The memoir of hers is unapologetic, it's raw, it's earned every shocking moment with character growth. Reading her work was kept me on the edge of my seat, but also it was rewarding because there is that character growth. The character that we were introduced and the character that we said goodbye to are basically two different people. And sadly, her rawness didn't translate well into this fiction debut of hers. And it seemed like she just copied the formula, shocked the readers, and that will, keep them engaged. Yeah, that is unfortunate. The main character is called Waldo, but yeah, that's beside the point. When Waldo demands her age inappropriate teacher to slap her face with his genitals, I was lost for words. It did startle me, and I'm sure it startled many other readers, but we were not amused. Who asked for this? No one asked for this. It's a scandalous line that was just that scandalous. It was taken off of run of the mill smut, and it doesn't work in this context because it just sits there knowing that you will flinch regardless of how cheap it is. And the frustrating part is McCurdy not only knows the difference between lazy shock for the sake of giving shock, and thoughtful graphic sentence or prose. Because in the same book, she wrote, I bite my tears down as I beg for him to fuck me harder and harder and harder, sickly hoping that if he fucks me hard enough, he'll fuck the resentment right out of me. See how that's graphic without being vulgar? Because it builds character, there is subtext underneath it, and it's unfortunate that he doesn't reach for this level of creativity or consistency throughout the book. It was not consistent. As for Browder in Red Notice, he seemed to forget to let the readers breathe. With Red Notice, it isn't lacking in stakes, right? The book revolved mainly around Sergei Magnitsky's death, and his death is genuinely harrowing. And Browder managed to write this with restraint, unlike McCurdy. For example, this is probably the most important paragraph in the book. But the riot guards weren't there to help him. They were there to beat him. And they laid into him viciously with their batons. With their rubber batons. My God, I don't know how to pronounce this word. The stick. 1 hour and 18 minutes later, a civilian doctor arrived and found Sergei Magnitsky dead on the floor. That paragraph was successful because it held its own without being trauma porn. This is something McCurdy could learn from. But sadly, Browder doesn't trust the reader for long. By, I would say, 25%, 30% of the book, every chapter is just shocking revelation after shocking revelation. Another corrupt official, another threat, another person close to the author, Bill, who's in danger, that he needs saving. That needs his saving specifically. There is no push and pull and just push. Although I'm not a regular thriller reader, it's just not a genre that I reach for often. Even I know, as an outsider, that a good thriller breathes, right? Because only if you have room that you can have moments to ruminate, you have moments to feel the weight of what just happened. Right? What just happened? Let me process that. Let me reflect, right? Red Notice never gives you that. It's just the book, by the way, the book is almost 400 pages long to give you context. When there is just constant threats and constant stress, it gets really, really stale and it gets really numbing. And another problem is with the dialogue, with how the dialogues are written. Every conversation is full of names. Names are repeated again and again, even though it's just like two people talking, just two people conversing. Bill, I'm worried. I know, Ivan, I'm worried too. And this is the entire book. This is not just when they're introducing a new character or the new character is speaking for the first time in the chapter. It gets really, really tiring and exhausting for the reader. No wonder it's 400 pages long. It's this that drags the book. Things like that drags the book. And also the book is quite dense. As someone who's an ESL, I did have to reach for the dictionary multiple times. Not multiple times. Like I feel like every other page. But it's on some levels, it felt more like a deposition than it is a thriller, memoir mash. What's the problem here, right? How did we get here? I think the problem is nobody pushed back, or maybe nobody pushed back hard enough, right? Because this is the problem that both writers face, whether or not they recognize it as such. Obviously, I don't know what actually happened behind the scene, but my gut says that, for example, for McCurdy, the editor saw the success of her memoir and just gave her free rein. Oh, you want to write a fiction next? It will sell. We know it will sell, so maybe we don't have to push back as hard. And with Browder, he's a very authoritative figure, and also came off as arrogant at times in the book. But he's used to producing documentaries. He's used to directing activism. And he, by the way, worked with a ghostwriter, openly worked with a ghostwriter on this novel, on this book. And again, probably the ghostwriter just didn't have much say in the writing. But that's more of the editor's jobs, right? But I don't know. I don't know how ghostwriting works because I've never done that. But because Bill, maybe he was used to working with the film medium, the documentary lens medium, right? And it's a lot more forgiving than when you're writing a book, right? In film, you have the director, and that could help reframe scenes that are not super punchy enough. And then you have actors who also bring years of experience into the movie. By the way, I heard that they're making this into a movie. I don't know if I'll watch it, but yes. But when a ghostwriter is only given a task to deliver the shell of a thriller, but not given the meat and also the organs to make the story come alive, and the editor just nods at this powerful white man, you end up with, again, a shock that comes off as lazy. And the irony is that Browder's on book contains its sharpest critique. So it's not a critique to him, but by the way, at one point, someone in the book, someone in the story tells him, we have been inundated with so many statistics and facts that sometimes we lose the human ability to actually feel them. He included this line in the book. He just failed to internalize it for this memoir. I would like to close by saying, again, providing shock is easy, right? You don't have to set anything up for shock. That's the whole point of a shock. You don't set the readers up for it. But to achieve depth is harder. But that's where the reward lies, right? A shock that is earned will satisfy the readers. But yes, I believe that if both authors were given editorial direction from the get-go, from early on, and they're given restraint, they're given pacing, and they're being let known that it's okay to let the readers be discomfort, just be in this, to sit with one discomfort at a time. I believe the books would have turned out very, very differently. Yeah, the question isn't whether or not they're capable, because I know they are. It's whether anyone in publishing still has the spine to tell them no. I believe Red Notice is a huge success. That's why I think they're making it into a film. I don't know what the public reception for Jennette's work yet, because it's rather new. And but I have a feeling it's not going to be as successful as her debut work, the memoir. But I hope she continues to write, because I enjoy her writing. It's just again, we need the editor, and it's her first fiction work. Give him a break. Give her a break. I think she'll get better. For Browder, he has a second book. I think it's a continuation of this. I will not be picking it up because I don't believe it's going to be any better. But yeah, so my rating for the book, for both books, are the same. I give them 3 stars. And by the way, if you want to read the written version of this review, it is on my blog. Yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching or listening, and goodbye.